Hi, I'm James Taylor.
And I'm Alison Burns.
And together we are
the Ethical Futurists.
Now, you're listening to the Ethical Futurist podcast, where we dive into the world of sustainability, ethics, and why these ideas today are more important than ever before. Now, join us as we engage with leading thinkers, with business leaders, with academics, with entrepreneurs, with investors, and change makers to uncover the latest ideas shaping a more ethical and sustainable future. We're going to be covering a lot of different things in this podcast as well.
We are indeed. From sustainability, innovation to future trends and ESG.
Our conversations span a wide array of topics, including renewable energy. We're going to be looking at clean tech, ethical investing,
food systems, and much more.
Yeah. In each episode, we explore really crucial issues such as carbon emissions, the circular economy. We're going to be talking about rewilding,
net zero carbon goals,
and the future of food and energy, something that Alison and I are really passionate about.
So whether you're interested in lab-grown meat, alternative proteins, sustainable finance, or climate-related risk, we've got you covered. Are you looking to secure a keynote speaker who's well-versed in sustainability, ESG, or any of the engaging topics featured on the Ethical Futurist podcast? Well, look no further. Connect with the experts at MENA Speakers to book your ideal speaker today.
Just go to mena-speakers.com. That's mena-speakers.com. Alternatively, you can drop them an email at book@mena-speakers.com to book the perfect speaker for your next event. Hande Akdede Erbay is the market leader for IBM Sustainability Software in the Middle East and Africa. With over 20 years of sales experience in the technology industry, she oversees strategy, sales, revenue, and client advocacy for IBM's Sustainability Software division, a key priority within IBM's global strategy. Prior to this role, Hande held leadership positions within IBM, including TSS leader for MEA, where she was responsible for executing the services strategy in the region. Hande is deeply passionate about technology and its potential to drive positive societal change. Her focus extends beyond mere business objectives. She is committed to harnessing technology to address sustainability challenges with a keen eye on fostering strong client partnerships to deliver solutions that make a tangible difference. She holds a degree in political science from Istanbul University. She is a proud mother to one son and enjoys traveling and immersing herself in different cultures during her leisure time. Hande, welcome to the Ethical Futurist.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for the great introduction. It is really a great pleasure to be here today together with you.
So share with us, what is going on in your world just now? What currently has your focus?
So what is going on in sustainability world? Sustainability is one of the hot topic in everyone's agenda. There are many discussions going on in this subject. Sustainability discussion has two different phases. One of them is the real threat. That's the real threat for our generation and more importantly for the next generation. So this is making this subject ethically top considered subject. The second phase of it is economic impact of it. So we know that a sustainable organization can lower their cost, they can increase their brand value, they can attract the investment. So sustainability is an ambition from many different dimensions. How to turn this ambition into action is the core discussion point today.
And that's what we're going to be exploring today in this conversation.
Yeah. So with your role at IBM, what would you say are your top 3 accomplishments?
Okay, so from my role and my company's accomplishments, so I think embedding AI into technologies to accelerate the sustainability journey is one of the top accomplishments, I can say that. The second one I would like to mention here, it is IBM Sustainability Accelerator. It's a social impact program that applies IBM technologies to enhance and scale non-profit and government organization initiatives helping population. Each year, the program selects some projects, and every year we have different topic. For example, in 2023, we supported water management project, and this year in 2024, we committed $45 million to support advanced city resiliency projects. So this investment budget will be used for technology-driven projects to advance city resiliency. This is how we are helping the community. I can count that as an accomplishment. And the third one, I have a special interest on that, IBM SkillBuild platform. It offers free sustainability courses, which is designed by IBM expert on sustainability and or technology. So I can say these three.
We're going to be definitely going further into some of those as well. When you're working with clients, when companies are coming to you, what are some of the main topics or pillars that organizations should consider when making this journey that they're into sustainability?
From our angle, sustainability journey starts by building a clear roadmap first. So every company, every country, they need to put a clear roadmap and strategy. This is the number one, the phase one. And after that, to make it happen, you need to build a platform to measure, to understand where you are as of today. So every company, they need to put into place a system of record for their ESG data. Then they can understand where they are today, where do we need to be. This is the second phase of the sustainability journey. When they build this platform, again, they need to check what is driving their carbon emission mostly. We summarize it in 3 dimensions. Carbon emission is driven by companies' assets or their data center or their supply chain. So in every industry, our approach is a bit different. It depends where this carbon emission is coming from mainly. If it is coming from your assets, our approach is starting from this angle, but if it is coming from your data center, then we need to focus on green IT and responsible computing. If it is coming from your ecosystem, your suppliers and subcontractors, then you need to build a transparent ecosystem and supply chain management. So this is how we approach in 3 phases to operationalize sustainability.
So it's really different depending on obviously the industry.
Exactly.
That journey is going to be different for a company that's involved in energy. It's going to be different from an engineering company. It's going to be different for a film company, a TV production company. They're all going to have slightly different journeys.
Absolutely, because all their data, all their asset, all their environment is different than each other. That is the reason their carbon footprint is coming from many different angles. First of all, we need to identify where the problem is mostly.
And we're going to come back to the data bit, because that's very important.
James likes his data. Well, you mentioned SkillsBuild to better equip people with the green skills and tech skills. So how does that work? And what kind of skills do people need for the future so that they can make a positive impact on the planet?
So SkillBuild is a platform where we provide our free content courses. It could be about technology, AI, sustainability, some other subject. For sustainability, we have a specific content there. So who is interested in developing themselves about sustainability and the technology, I strongly recommend them to go and check this free platform. Then they can understand the sustainability dynamics today and what type of skills are needed, because this subject is a very big subject with a many different dimensions. Then they can focus on one or couple of the dimensions of these agenda. This is the platform to train themselves actually. And this is also a responsibility to the community to develop next sustainability talent people.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I know that. I remember when I first started getting interested in artificial intelligence, and some of the first courses I took were actually IBM courses because they were just a really good foundational kind of grounding in AI and also had a perspective on ethical AI, which we talk about. Alison and I talk about a lot as well. Yeah. A recent event Alison and I were speaking about, we were having this discussion there was I felt like a disconnect in the room with some of there was chief sustainability officers there was chief financial officers, there were chief data officers, chief audit officers. So they all had slightly different functions. And they felt like there was a disconnect at that point between the chief sustainability officers who had a vision, or maybe the CEO had a vision in terms of what they want to do around sustainability, and then the chief financial officers or the chief audit officers or data officers who has to say, well, we've got to measure this. How do we measure this? Do we have the data for this? Are you seeing something similar? Is that conversations that you often have where you're actually trying to figure out how you get your hands around this?
As you mentioned, it is very multi-dimensional discussion, even in a simple company. So if you approach sustainability as a task which needs to be done, it is quite difficult to manage it. It needs to be embedded into the whole process and the approach in the company. And whoever making that, we see a significant progression in their sustainability agenda. But if dimension by dimension or department by department, if there is different approach, it is quite difficult to make it happen. So we need to focus on the ESG goals, but in the meantime, as we discussed at the beginning, it has a positive economic impact as well. So we need to see the business outcome of it. Sustainability starts as an ethical discussion, but it comes to an economic discussion very quickly. I should say that.
Yeah, people, profit and planet in whichever order it comes in. What order does it come in? Exactly. And I mean, there is a sense of urgency that we need to turn this big ship around, for the planet's sake. So that there is a planet to live on. What would you say is the hardest part of your job, given that urgency?
Okay, so what is the hardest part of my job? The whole world agrees on one thing. Sustainability is a very complex subject because every step we take, every activity a company does to continue their life, it affects overall carbon emission. This means a very diverse, unstructured, a large amount of data. So, since there is no plug and play, one single solution which makes a company or community sustainable in a sudden, it requires a very holistic approach from so many different angles. So this is the hardest part of this subject. However, with a holistic approach and with the right prioritization, it is doable. This is the good part of the discussion, I think. So it is doable with the help of AI, with the help of the analysis of data and the smart decision based on this analysis with the help of AI again. So without data and AI, sustainability is not actionable, not trackable, not achievable.
It's got to be measured.
Yes,
measured, and then also that assurance that sits behind it as well.
So in that point, amount and the variety of data, it is not only the hardest part of my job, but also it is the only way to solve this problem.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I guess, from the IBM perspective as well. What about yourself, your own sustainability journey that you've gone through? Was there an aha moment that you had, maybe working with a client or something that you just kind of felt at your deeper level, this is why this is important?
Yeah. In every use cases, what we are working together with our clients or alliances, I am surprised positively. So let me share a couple of examples here. So, for example, NASA and IBM, we are developing large-scale geospatial AI models to help us track and adapt climate change by analyzing NASA's Earth Science satellite data. In 2023, the economic losses due to natural disaster, it was almost about $380 billion. So can you imagine that if we can predict this, if we can act on that, knowing, predicting and acting proactively may make a significant impact. So this is one of the aha moments for me. Another one, I'm impressed when I see the outcomes of in TfL, Transport for London.
Oh, we know them very well.
You know them very well.
TfL tickets.
Then you will love this story. Transport for London is an agency. They are responsible to keep all transportation up and running. And TfL has a target to hit net zero by 2040. Considering each outage increases carbon footprint, using AI embedded asset and facilities management makes a huge difference in carbon emission. And it is not limited with that. The projected saving is £21 million in 10 years. It can be redirected to decarbonization activities very easily.
Quick fire round as we start to finish off here. A couple of questions for you. Alison, did you want to
Is there a book on sustainability data or anything that you can read, or a resource that you can recommend our listeners that you can point them towards?
I strongly recommend our listeners to follow IBM Institute for Business Value platform.
Okay.
We do regular search and survey and publish them. That platform had been recognized as the most influential thought leadership producer among buyers of consulting services. They can find many data about sustainability, AI or AI for sustainability in that platform. I strongly recommend them to follow it.
And what about podcasts? If I see Hande walking down Kite Beach or somewhere, going out for a run in Dubai, what are you listening to? Are you listening to, is it all about podcasts about sustainability, ESG technology?
That is not true.
No.
I am listening about many different things, but in my personal life, I really like to listening about personal development, breathing techniques, and all the other well-being things. I love to listen about them.
Beautiful, beautiful.
That's fantastic.
And we're going to put all these show notes as well, all these links here on the show notes. If people go to the ethicalfuturist.com, we'll have that. Just type in Hande, Hande, and you'll be able to get those show notes as well.
Yeah. Well, just a final question from me. For you, Hande, what does an ethical and sustainable world look like? What kind of world do you see that's important that we leave to future generations?
I am dreaming about a world which produces respectfully and consumes respectfully to the world and to the environment. And a just transition is also part of my dream. So a just transition means greening the economy in a way that is as fair and inclusive as possible, creating decent work opportunities and leaving no one behind.
That's wonderful.
Leave no one behind. What is the best way for people to learn more about the work you do at IBM? What is a good way for them to be able to connect if they want to discover more and continue this journey?
So IBM.com is the main platform. We provide lots of data, but for specifically, as I said, IBM SkillBuild.org is the platform to train themselves about one of the subject. And to be connected, I strongly recommend to follow up the LinkedIn. We are all online and very reachable on LinkedIn platform with the content about the subject and about so many other things.
That's wonderful.
Hande Akdede Erbay of IBM, thank you so much for coming on the Ethical Futurist.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you're considering making sustainability or ESG one of the themes for your next conference, your event, or perhaps a company retreat, then why not invite Alison and myself to be your keynote speakers or event MCs? We have delivered really inspiring co-keynote programs for some of the world's largest organizations from all different kinds of industries. Now, the Ethical Futurist keynote will take your audience on a journey to discover how the world's most ethical and sustainable companies are really innovating in their industries. So if you'd like to learn more about booking Alison and I as the Ethical Futurist for your next event, then simply head to theethicalfuturist.com/speaking. That's theethicalfuturist.com/speaking to schedule a call to discuss with us your next event. We're delighted that you listened to this podcast, and we'd really thank you if you could just take a moment now to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Also, while you're there, why not give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review? It would really mean a lot to Alison and I. So from me, James Taylor.
And me, Alison Burns.
Thanks for listening to the Ethical Futurist podcast.